Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Series 3, Episode 7 of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. This one I'm going to kind of show you the good, we're going to skip the bad, and go straight to the ugly. So first of all, in the end of 6, I talked about the little scheme or the plan to set up livestock and a slaughterhouse, and I showed you how, a slaughterhouse, if we're going to try to do 100% efficiency, we would need 50 livestock ranches, and we decided to try for 10% efficiency with five or so livestock ranches. And I wanted to show you the progress I've made. What I've done, it was 20th of January 1964 at the end of episode 6. So I came back into the game and let it run while I did some terraforming and redid this farm a little bit, trying to get to our Domageddon ideal 13 big field setup. So I did a bunch of terraforming here, and a little bit over here, and I've got it out. It's not ideal because it's a little bit too long a distance. I'd love to have these two farms over here, but the mountain is just a pain. So I've got it to 6 and 6 is 12. I've got it to 12 big fields and 2 little ones I can sneak in right there. So that's pretty good, and that should be a very good productive farm, particularly if we upgrade the roads a little bit so the trucks can move a little faster. We should do just fine with that. And the idea was this farm is going to feed crops to our livestock farms, or what do they call them? A livestock farm. It's really a ranch, but whatever. The place where we get our livestock, they're going to all feed into a, this is another one. This is a stockyard. So in English, certainly in American, this would be called a stockyard. I'm not sure what you would call it in other countries, but so we've got a stockyard. We've got livestock coming into a stockyard, so they're all automatically going in there, which will then feed a slaughterhouse, which is going to create the meat for us. And as we discussed, we're going to have the crops coming in. We're also going to import crops as needed to keep these producing, but we will not under any circumstances import livestock, because that is a death knell for your economy to do that. That's horrid. That's a game over kind of thing right there. So we're going to feed the meat, and then the other thing you'll notice is, I've set up the beginnings of a downtown right here, and I was going to use the bus idea. So we're going to have a central bus, and this bus, of course, can reach all the key things in downtown. It can reach the grocery store or the small shopping center. It can reach the cinema, the hospital, the pub. What is that? Well, there's a school there. That school might actually go away, assuming we can keep going with this, and a fire station. So the idea was we could set up a neighborhood like, say, out here. We could set up housing out here, have buses that run into town for people to go get their satisfaction. We could even have buses for workers so that we ship workers in here, or we could put workers around it nearby. That's probably what I would do. And so we'd have workers set up to man this. We would have people here that go in to get their satisfaction, and then we'd have other bus lines that would run up here, maybe a bus stop here where people could walk from the bus stop to the ranches and work. And then probably maybe a little microbus that with a couple of microbuses that ran in and took people directly to the meat, because it's kind of in an awkward spot. But whatever, that was going to be the idea, and we could, and then as our money got better, we could expand and have maybe add another university so that these people will be easy for these people to keep getting those university degrees. And you also notice I'm kind of reinstating the idea of having rail. So we've got a cargo station, and you also notice that remember I said, well, I don't see us using that line anymore. I changed my mind again. The reason being that it's very, very hard to get across this mountain. I mean, it can be done. You can go out like this and then go across and turn back. But either you have to build a very long route, kind of sideways across the mountain, or you have to blast a big tunnel, which costs way more than we can afford right now. So I was going to go back and do, okay, cool. Look at this. We'll have a line running in, and the plan was that we would pick up meat over in that new area. We would drop it off here. We're going to add a meat storage right there. We would drop it off here at this warehouse and fill up the storage, then have a truck or two that took meat from the storage to these two, this and this, our two shopping centers here in our original area. And that way we would be supplying them meat. Then the train would just come back out and go in to Cardabog and make us ka-ching by exporting all the rest of the meat. Then it would just simply go back here and load up food, which we would start moving over here from this factory, and alcohol, which is already directly attached. We would load up food and alcohol, and we would have clothing that was brought here as well. So we would load up some food, clothing, alcohol in this warehouse and have that train grab that food, clothing, alcohol and come out like this and go back over here, have an attachment to a warehouse, which was then connected directly. It would have a direct connection to this. Actually, it'll be easier to see if I put it back in. We would have a direct connection like that between the warehouse and the shopping center, so the food and the clothing would automatically go in there for use in the shopping center. And then the alcohol, we'd have one little truck that made a very short little run from here over to here for the alcohol in the pub. And that way we would have this area supplied, and we would be taking the meat over here and supplying this area with meat and exporting a bunch of meat, and ta-da, hooray for us. Now, that's all the good. Those were my plans. Now, at the end of episode 6, episode 6 was all about putting in this university. So we got this university in here, and we set it up with the bus lines and whatever, and I won't go through the whole thing again. You watch episode 6. But we got that going, and we were starting to increase our number of university grads, because we were at that point where we were going to start losing. We're going to get that downward cycle where we lose people in the school to teach, we lose doctors, and then everything falls apart, because now we're not getting any more trained workers, and we're not getting any health care, and yada yada. So bad news. Well, that seemed fine. It seemed to work. It was definitely, we were pulling probably 20 to 30 students in, and we could only accommodate a few at a time. But the thought was that over time we would get more college graduates. Some of them we could put in here to have more teachers. And as we had more teachers, we could start accommodating more and more people and running them through the school system quicker. And we could also eventually, if we had money, add a dorm and actually drag people over here from other areas and let them go to school and let them then go back and become productive workers. So all that sounded good. That was the one thing we changed. Then the other thing that changed was the new version came out. So this new version came out that has the cars. I have gone off and played with the cars a little bit in a different, like a sandbox, almost a sandbox kind of thing, just to see what was going on there. So I kind of get the idea. The jury's still out on the value of it, but that's another topic for another day. But the car industry, I kind of played with that. So anyway, I noticed this up here. We've got these hotkeys. It took me a while to figure out how to do this, but for anybody who's struggling, you get this menu. You can make it bigger or smaller like so, and you can see, you have 10 sets of 10 keys, so you can just hotkey yourself to death with this thing. But basically, what you do is you open up the menu. I was hoping when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is good. I can actually mark a location and quickly move to a location, but unfortunately that doesn't work. But what does work is if I had, say, for example, I tended to build pipelines. So I'm going to build a lot of pipelines. I could click that button for the pipeline and then walk over here and click, and now that becomes a hotkey. So now, if I clean everything out, if I'm on this first set and I hit 0 on my keyboard, I am automatically laying pipe. Or I can click that and automatically I am building a road, or just click number 1 and I'm building a road. And if I had a second set, I could do F1, F2, F2. I could have some more. If I'm on that one, then when I hit 4, whatever is loaded in 4 will work. So that's kind of cool. But the other thing is, but I don't know what else changed. But here we go. We're going to get into the ugly, and this is hard to look at. Okay, first of all, let's look at our population. Now, I had written down a bunch of numbers, and I realized I can do this in a video and show you. Look at our population. Our population now is 849. Our population, let's look at this year. And let's move up to January 20th, which is when we stopped. Our population in January 20th was about 2,600, 2,613. On 19th of January, we had 2,613 people in our republic. In a 5-month period from January 20th to June 23rd, we have had 517 births, 103 immigrants. That was bringing in some people right here, right at the end. And 2,206 deaths and 309 escapes. And you'll see the escapes are there. They ramp up toward the end. The deaths, what in the world? Oh, I hadn't even looked at this. The deaths, when we first, oh, that's interesting. I wish you could move over. If I move my cursor, I can't move over there and see what that is, but what's 270? We had 270 deaths right in here, which is, what date is that? Right after, well, right after the new version came on board. So when the new version came up and I started running the game with the new version, we suddenly had 270 deaths in one little period there. And then we just had lots and lots of deaths going on for the rest of the time. And our republic has died, folks. Long live the republic. You know, the republic is dead. We're down to 849 people. Can we recover from that? Possibly, but there's clearly something really, really wrong. Now, the thing that has always served me well as a consultant is when there's a complex issue and you're going, oh my God, this is horrible, what happened? The best question you can ask yourself is, assuming it was doing okay at one time, and it seemed like we were doing fine, what happened? What changed? That's it. What changed? Well, the university and the version. That's what changed. Everything, nothing else changed, because during that time period, the 5 months that I let the game run, I was over here doing this. So I was just shocked when I came back over here, because you don't have anything that tells you your population or any of those values up here unless you pull up this, right? Which is fine. That's not a criticism. You just pull this up and you can see what's going on. Well, I didn't do that because everything seemed fine. I was watching, I could see the money, and the money was slowly going up. All right, so let's look at that that same time period from 20 January through 23 June. We actually made reasonable amount of money. 5 months, what's that, 20 some thousand a month or something. That's not great, but it's not so far from what we were doing the whole time. And if we look at our exports, a lot of power and clothing, alcohol, food, just like we would expect, although we can see how the clothes are getting more spaced out. That's as we're losing critical mass. The alcohol, boy, there was a long drag there in the middle. I don't know what caused that. The food was pretty consistent, actually. Never great, but and down. All these are down. We would expect much more than this. And that, of course, as our population was going, we had less and less and less people working in our factories, making less and less products. So, and finally, at the probably right at the end, if we look at our imports, they stay pretty. That's pretty consistent with the power we're producing. That's pretty consistent with the clothing over a 5-month period. That's not bad at all. Fuel's pretty consistent with what we're saying. We do get right here, we get a little bit of food, but it's weird where it pops up because if you look at the graph down there, we imported a bunch of food. Now that's probably the trucks not quite making it back there to the food to the grocery stores quickly enough. And again, it all has to do with our declining population. Probably periods right after big deaths, actually. So I have to tell you that I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this happened. I will tell you there is a definite design flaw. I've known it the whole time. One thing I don't like, I would definitely redo. Well, one, I'd have a road going through here, but that's a tiny thing. The big thing is that with the hospital and the kind of our little downtown areas where you go, to school, kindergarten, and shopping. One of the things I don't like is, remember I said they'll seek food first. So if they can get to here, they can get to there, right? If they can get to here, they can get to there. That's all good. But there are people who get very, very ill. And when they're very ill, all they want to do is go to the doctor. That's their desire, go to the doctor. And in that case, if we look at the hospital, it covers everybody. So if you get to the ambulance stage, an ambulance can come and get you. But as far as walking, only some of our flats can actually walk to the hospital. So that was a shame on me right there. But that's only a few people. That's not the whole deal. And we saw that this thing was working just fine for, 1964, for 4 years. For 4 years it worked just fine. We probably got more deaths than we should have because of that little flaw. But it didn't kill us. But all of a sudden, that new version comes on board and we died. Now, is it because we hit the 4-year mark and our people died off because they were going to die off anyway? Possibly, but where's the rest of the people? How did we cycle through? So, I guess my question for you guys is: first of all, what do you think happened? And secondly, has anyone heard of other people having problems with sudden rapid decreases in population since the new version came on board? And I know it just came on board like yesterday, so this is pretty fast turnaround in terms of, whoa, I got a problem. And I'm not trying to say it's the version that did it, but if it is, I'd like to know that, so I don't beat myself up trying to figure this out. And I mean, it's entirely possible this would have happened anyway. It's entirely possible that design flaw I talked about, or the fact that we were pulling people into the university a little bit too late, maybe that killed us. I don't know. But again, if I look at the stats, we're doing okay on college grads now because we're getting them through our university, and our education's actually not awful. I wish you could hit just your productive age workers and get those numbers. They don't really let you do that. I did notice we can put city halls in. We could put a city hall in here and get population stat or get some more stats, and that might be worth doing. But be that as it may, I don't know what to say. This will not survive. I mean, a population of 849, we would be starting over. And the thing is, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'll hang with this and try to save it. It might be an interesting exercise to try to save a failing republic, but at the same time, if until I know why it failed, you can't fix it. If you don't know what caused the problem, you can't fix the problem. So, any thoughts? I'm putting this one out here as a help. I need help. Help me figure out what went wrong and give me some ideas and things to look at, and we'll go from there. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.